Do you guys have ramen in India? Top ramen? It's just basically quick noodles. You add water, and there's a seasoning packet. Okay, then yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, then yeah, I would make quick noodles too. It's been a minute. I have some. I just haven't made it. Interesting. All right. I'm gonna start on gold. I need to pull up CAD too. I haven't done that analysis yet, but gold here is looking very interesting. I think we may have hit the bottom. We have swept liquidity of the previous month's low. The previous month's low was right here at this candle to the left on the 12-hour. There's no wick, right at 1823.79. You can see last week we pierced right through it and then shot right up, and then had a fat bullish engulfing candle as well. So it does seem like there's going to be some upside movement for gold. Now we may have a pullback down to this blue line, 1835, or down to 1830 to this area. We could even pull a little bit lower, down to the 18, like down below 1830 to possibly like 1827, 1826. Have a wick down there and come up back to these highs at 1842, 1845, and then attempt 1850 and possibly go for the previous week's high, last week's high at 1870, and we could see that move up to 1890 and possibly beyond this week. We'll see what happens, but based on where it closed, it is technically at an area of supply and resistance, which is why I'm thinking a pullback could happen at a higher low point. If you look at it, how the arrow is and how the price action is, you can kind of visualize how price could maybe want to play out. You know, have a pullback, create a higher low somewhere down in this area, have a steep wick, might retest, you know, this zone down here, and then engulfing, a little pullback, continue to trend higher, come up to 1850, might have a reaction and come back down, or just keep trending through, come up to the previous week's high, and then ultimately trend higher up to this point, which we've been seeing for the last 2 weeks, but this bearish move finally came in, which took a few weeks to develop. So now that's what's making me think that we might get that bullish move finally to fill in all this space as well. There are still downside targets. You know, obviously if this low breaks, there's not much up until 1800, 1805, and then below that is 1790, 1795 price range. But I think we're bullish next week. If we go to the weekly time frame, you can see nice wick rejection here, and if you kind of visualize the next weekly candle, you can definitely see possible rejections down in this area, which is the 1828, 1826 area, or possibly on this level of support around 1835, 1830. But knowing gold, how it likes to do the deep retracements, especially lately, most likely it's going to pull back into this area, and can add a little zone onto that right here. I'm going to make it black. Yeah, right to this zone. This would be ideal, which would be the 1827, 1828 price range. Just a nice tap right under that. I think that could be our buy setup for the week. If price retraces into the zone, I am taking buys and riding it up to possibly the previous week's high and maybe even higher. This would be a really good trade, especially if it happens like on Wednesday in the middle of the week or Tuesday, and could possibly hold it for a day or intraday to the next session. Oh yeah, it is. I'm looking forward to it. I have to be responsible. To be very responsible with 100K, but yeah, obviously it's all ready to go now. You know, live ammo. My plan is to not go over 2 lots, and you know, I really need to be disciplined on that, even if it's a good trade setup. You know, because 2 lots is definitely a lot, and that's what the Funded Trader does for their competitions. So 2 lots is definitely doable. It's very realistic. It's safe. It would take 50 pips on a 2 lot for me to lose 1%. And Audacity, how they do it, on their 120K accounts, their max exposure is 4 lots. So staying within a 2 lot range is pretty good. Although it is a little low, I could possibly go up to, 3, which, maybe sometimes I will, but 2 lots need to be pretty much where it needs to be capped out off for max exposure wise, and then 30 pips is $600, 25 pips is 0.5%, so just taking those type of gains and coming back the next day or later, it's really going to add up a lot, especially if you can do that multiple times a week, and then into the next weeks as well. You could easily be a 3 to 5% month just by doing that, and that's what I'm shooting for, just for 3 to 5%, nothing too crazy. That's very realistic. And if I go for one of these bigger accounts next, like 300 to 400k, that 3 to 5% is just like a ridiculously high amount of profits to make in a month, between 12k to 20k on a 400k account, and then between 9 and 12k on 9 and 15k on a 300k account. It was really hard to pass. It took a lot of mental strength, especially coming out of drawdown too, because the fluctuations are higher, the lot size is higher, and then trading some of these more volatile assets, it just took a lot more to make it happen. So I definitely don't recommend it until you are at that point and you can do it. But it opened my eyes to see what I can really do now, because now I'm very confident in being able to do more. But yeah, on NAS 100, hit a major low point down here. With the previous week's low, we had this major level at 122 that I've been seeing, 12200 that I've been seeing for the last few weeks, and it still didn't hit. But based off where we're at, if you go to the monthly time frame, strong seller's exhaustion, which kind of looks like it's going to come back down, but based on the weekly time frame, you can see that we held support here and closed bullish at the end of Friday. Typically when the NASDAQ 100 wants to break lower and breaks these key levels, she just rips right through. So the fact that it didn't is telling me that, okay, that might have been the major low point, and we might have a wick fill, or price to drive higher to fill this wick, this range, because it's a wick, it's a really big range, and the fact that it didn't make a new low, looks like a higher low is created. We might get a pullback down before we get this move up, which I am definitely seeing this move up. We could get a pullback based on the daily and 12-hour, because it's just a wick. We need to have possibly another lower time frame higher low point. So if you go to the 4-hour, you can see that a pullback could happen down in this area, like 12300 or 127, 125, kind of a deep retracement down here. Then I could see prices start trending back up higher, especially once this little zone breaks at 124, 1239. Have a retest of this break structure area, perhaps at 125, 1249. Let's extend this. But I'm really liking how the NAS 100 is looking. I missed out on these buys that happened for that retracement move up, simply because I got it too early before that wick, that sweep. But that was a really nice, easy trade, and I called the sells, didn't take it because I didn't have an account to take it on. But it played out nicely, and it was a really big move for, one, if I closed just down here, 120 pips, but for the target at 124, that was 200 pips, and at the final target down here, which it didn't fully hit, but that was a 350 pip move. So next week, we're really going to try and catch these movements and really refine on how to how to catch these type of movements more frequently. Thanks, I guess, to ICT a little bit. But you can see on the 2-hour rejection, we have, hit the resistance, but still higher low point. Might have another retracement if we come into this zone again and come down to this area. And we can draw a little area, or I guess you call it a fair value gap, where I add the blue lines is normally where a lot of these fair value gaps are, but right here, 12275, there's something right in this area, kind of like this, right in here. You can see price tapping. This would be an ideal entry point, and then ride this up to the break of structure level. Just stop loss a little too wide, but something like that. That'd be a nice 3R. And if it does play out, end up coming up to here, completely filling this entire range back to the previous week's high. Like, this risk to reward can get pretty crazy on this trade. A 5R, 6.5R, which I'm obviously not going to hold that long, but if I do get into this position, it does work out, I may leave a runner, and we can leave that going. Yeah, in a week, it's possible. Like, you know, I always say all that stuff is possible. I don't obviously promote that and be like, yeah, I passed that quickly, because that's pretty dang quick, you know, and that's not exactly what, you know, people need to be trying to do. You know, that's not for everyone. But yeah, you can definitely pass in a week. Or a week and a half, 2 weeks, a few days. You really need just a few good trades. Yeah, the gold trade. Yeah, maybe swing the gold trade. I think so too. If it comes back, that's a really, really good setup. Yeah, the second phase is not as hard, obviously, because it's a less of a profit target. But once you make like 1 or 2% on that second phase, you're practically there. And there's multiple trades I actually could have passed on, but I just didn't hold them because I was, I guess, scared to, and I was having, you know, 5 lots on, and then be up, you know, 700, 1500, you know, take my gain, and then find another move. But a lot of times they pushed for another, you know, 30, 40 pips, and, you know, that would have passed you right there. But I just kept closing. But like on this gold move, where was it? This one of the gold cells. It was in this area right before 1850 broke. Let me see. It was some type of little push. It had a little pullback, but then after that the move happened. It wasn't on here. It was in this area right before the break of 1850. It was like from 1858, 1854, something like that. Yeah, right in here. Caught this little nice move. Came down 58, came down, had a little pullback, something like this. Maybe it was here. Either one. Closed it, and then it ended up just tanking a lot more. Absolutely just melting. Could be wrong about where that area was. Hang on. This was it. This is the area. Because afterwards, once I saw the break of 1850, I didn't take it and went lower. It was earlier in the day on this push right here. Like on the 1858, like I was saying, had a nice move down to 1854. Yeah, this is the move. And then had that little pullback, pulled back 20 pips, but I took my trade, got out of it, and this is all in the 5-minute candle, 5-minute time frame, which is wild. 1858 down to 1854 in, you know, a matter of like 7 minutes. And then the little pullback, just decided to close because I thought it could go up back up to there and maybe even higher. You know, gold does ridiculous things. But then, as you can see, the next candle just smashed lower for another 50 pips. With that 5 lot on, would have been $2,500, $2,000, another 2% or so, and that one would have passed me. But then getting out, taking the NASDAQ trade, taking the GJ losses, you know, cut into that, and then not taking this one right here, right on the break 1850 when it finally went, that would have passed me too. That one I wish I did not hesitate on. Wait, did you? Wait, did you really pass? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, it can happen. You might be making something like that one of these days. You know, you're going to get to that point of confidence. You know, because obviously on some of these setups I'm using more risk than some people would recommend. You know, I have gotten into 10 lots on this, which wasn't terrible, but it worked. But, you know, 5 lots could be seen as a lot for some people. You know, I have one person... It's hilarious. I have one person that I know that's like a 100K trader, but he only risks 0.1%. So, you know, it's a different type of mindset for some people. But for me, I just need to get it done, and got it done. And if you know how to take, if you can identify these high probability trades and know how to scale in, you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that, because that's literally part of your skill set. And doing that, and successfully doing that, confirms as such. Not everyone can do that or trade that way, because it's not easy. You gotta be very confident in what you're doing. You can't be scared. And, you know, you have to execute. And execute well. And not get greedy and, you know, flow. But yeah, NAS 100, we'll see what happens with NAS 100. We get a nice break of structure right here. I'm gonna mark this up. Yeah, your risky percentage, you know, and if you can quickly reduce your risk, especially like, you know, you're trading these moves that have a lot of momentum, you got one entry on, you're like pinned down, catch that next entry, or you catch the break of the highs, the impulse move, quickly move your stops to break even, and, you know, you take what you get. If you see it coming back and you're already up 10 pips on the second position, you know, and obviously your first position's up a little more than it just was, just close. You don't have to fixate on take profit, especially when you're scaling in like that, because your risk is increased and you're already making more than you would have. So that's what doing that gets risky though, because you're obviously trying to let the trade idea play out and trust your analysis and stuff. But if you can just kind of forget about that and focus on making money and taking what you get, then, you know, you just find another trade set up afterwards or later on. Yeah, it does mean I have got to a certain point where my psychology is better, to where I can use higher lots like that and, you know, not panic, well, I wouldn't say not panic. There were times where I was not necessarily freaking out, but it was like, just relax. But, you know, watching that type of lot size fluctuate and move and trust what you're seeing, you know, being able to just execute 2 or 3 lots without, you know, being scared, you know, that is all a level of psychology you have to get to, you know. And when I, you know, go for those 300, 400k accounts, I'm going to be using 15 lots, 20 lots, 30 lots. That's a lot more and a lot more fluctuation, but I feel that I am on that type of psychology level now, to where I can handle those type of fluctuations and everything. Yep. Yeah, I think that's really good. 0.25 is good, especially if it's spaced out, or even on one position. It's not bad. Yeah, you know, that puts a lot of weight, a half lot, on a 5k count. Puts a lot of weight, you know. You don't get that. There's not much room for error. A 0.25, you know, isn't too much risk. You know, 20 pips is 1%. You know, a 0.2 has a little less weight, but 0.2, 0.25 is very, very good, especially if you stick to that, you know, as a max risk exposure until, you know, you say you're up 2%. Even if, you know, 2 to 4%, sticking to that. Oh, 1/4%. No, okay. Thought you meant 0.25. Okay, 1/4%. Dang, playing on that. You can definitely pass using that type of low risk. It just is a bit slower, but, you know, if you're taking your good trades every day and being done, it will add up. It really will. And if you don't make it in the 30 days, you get that extension, and you'll hit it anyways, just because you're following your rules and the risk to reward plays out. And, you know, 0.5% profit, 0.75, 1% gains, all really do add up. That's honestly, yeah. You know, let's look at odd. Let's see what odd's doing, and we can see if there's any high probability subs coming this week, which there are. You know, I already see some. Let's remove this. Odd reacted from the zone that, or the price range that we've been seeing for the last few weeks, the 682, 6800 price range. So I believe this is the overall low. Going to clear this zone right here. Previous week's low now. That is last week. And I believe this was the high. Yeah. So on the live stream, I believe it was like almost 2 weeks ago now. The prior week before this Friday, where we said the next week price could get driven up to this point. It did, and then had that massive sell-off throughout the whole week, similar to how gold did. That did come through. But now that we made that major low, we have a, let me go to just one singular chart. On the monthly, this looks like just a deep retracement on the monthly, right? Higher low point. Because the major low was down here, it didn't break anything. You know, if the candle was going to move bearish, it really should have just broken this point, 6800, and that would be a break of structure, you know, and the price or the trend would have changed. But we can see that didn't happen, and on the weekly time frame, strong wick rejection. This is not the previous week's high, so we're going to remove that. But I'm going to make it a zone just because this is an important area and a major high point. Label this as the previous week's high. See, this is a nice possible entry point down here. This is where I entered those buys when I was on live. This could be, I guess, considered a fair value gap, but just I do it differently. Let's mark off this area of resistance here, the zone, area of supply if you want, at 693. This almost looks like a higher time frame smart money trap. I think it is, or could be. We'll see what happens. Because for that trend continuation move was this point right here for the retest sells after this break, the major key level. And I'm going to add both of these into the BAT playbook, both these setups. This first sell and then the retest sell. Although I did close early on the retest sell, we definitely should have held that, but I did call it and it did play out to the exact T. But we can see that there's been a clear transition. Lower time frame structure broke right here for this move to continue higher and to move bullish. We're at a point of where structure, you could say, technically was broken, but on the higher time frame we have a strong wick rejection and an engulfing pattern on the 12-hour, which is telling me that if price was going to continue lower, there would not have been that wick. It would have been a solid bearish candle close. And the fact that it reacted from this area, an area of a major low point, major point of interest, we're going to move higher. So we're going to look for a pullback possibly back into this zone, the 684, 683, 682 area, because price might retest one more time. If there is no pullback, price is just going to open higher, you know, just kind of gap higher, break through this resistance, and we might get a pullback down to here, or maybe back down to here again, before possibly moving higher up to the 697,700 price range. Because now if this is the major low point, which is this is the monthly low, I believe, right? Let me just double check. Yeah, that's the monthly low. Okay. So we're going to label that as well. Previous week's low and monthly low. Price most likely is not going to break this, especially how we have closed and the overall trend is bullish still. If we come back to 682, 684, it would be a really nice retest trade, and I believe it is going to. It really does look like it, especially with, I believe we had a similar analysis on gold. Let me double check. Bullishness for okay, we'll look at USD CHF here shortly. But I think CAD, oh, we need to look at CAD too, but I think CAD has reached its high too, so it depends, really depends. With gold, what did we see? Right in this area, and yeah, we could get a pullback down back to here. So we could open bearish still, which would make USD CHF and USD CAD have one more move up. And as we're saying, you know, price might have a pullback, one more pullback, one more retest before it moves higher. So that could, yeah, it's all good about the live. But yeah, we'll look at, oh, I'm not here shortly. But yeah, that would coincide with what we're seeing here then. Really depends how we open. But if it does gap up higher, there's still a chance that we get this, you know, overall retest entry. Be a very high probability trade. 3.5 3.5, 3.5R to possibly 4R trade. If we sell here, there'd be a 2R trade. Yeah, this is a very high probability setup as well. We can get on these buys. USD buys. Let's delete this zone. Let's refine this range a little bit, or the zone a little bit. There is a lower time for break structure here that caused that bearish breakout. And yeah, it almost literally looks like price wants to go to 696, 695 and possibly break higher up to 0.7. And this is a very, very clean trade, very clean move. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, this just looks very good to me. Yeah, it may not be, it could be an overall bullish reversal, just literally based on how this, but if it doesn't, these areas is what we need to be concerned about. There could be stronger reactions here, and maybe a lower time frame higher low point back into this zone if it comes back. You know, if we get a push, I retest here, and then continue to break the previous week's high. And let's see if there's any other technicals we can add. Yeah, if we break above here, 0.7, a nice 40 pip range, and if we break above that, we could just end up making an overall higher time frame, higher high. This could be a good overall swing trade. I'm not going to be in that, but this movement here is what I'm seeing. If we can apply, let's see if we can apply fibs and see if there's a possible move. Okay. Yeah, even the Fibonacci extension target lines up with 725. So I think 725 is in the books. It's on the cards. And let's add a few more alerts on this pair. Down to this area at 685. I think it will go lower, but just to be alert that price is approaching our point of interest. Previous week's high have an alert at 0.7, and I'm going to target 695 as well. We have a nice alert set at all of our point of interest, possible take profit levels and entry points. 692. Yeah, this odd trade is looking good. Gold's looking good. We have really good setups. Let's look at CAD and CHF. Alright, look at CHF first. I could see there possibly being a pullback and retest. Who else is in here? Oh. Oh, Sir Nimesh is in here. Alright. Hello and good morning, Nimesh. Alright. Right now we're looking at, we've already covered gold and NASDAQ and Audacity. We have some really good trade setups, buy setups for all three, but at the start of the week there could be a retracement. But we're going to look at CHF and USD CAD right now, and that'll be the end of it mostly. Daily time frame, let's load up another chart. We are officially done trading GJ, never again. I already knew I shouldn't have been trading GJ that much, but the fact that it offered more volatility and bigger market movements had me wanting to trade it, and as such it didn't do us any good in any type of way. Alright. Yeah, Algo Warrior, I like it, it's a good idea. Looks cool. Okay. Let's see. I'll just rename this as well. Okay. 4 hours on the right. Let's go a little bit higher. Major engulfing pattern on the 12 hour. Let's go higher. Weekly, monthly. Okay. Don't really look at this pair that much, so let's see what is really here. Doing well. It's been a good morning so far. Very productive. Excited for the week. Have a lot of good setups coming in, and definitely excited. Definitely excited. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I asked him what Maggie was. I guess it's noodles, but we have top ramen here. Okay, yeah. Let's see the strong rejection right here on the weekly time frame. On the daily. Yeah, same thing. Strong rejection from key level. It's also an area of supply. Right here. 0.93. Oh, this looks like that move from the last few weeks we were seeing. Yeah, it finally played through. I haven't looked at this since I think it's been about a month. But yeah, there's that move up to here. Had a nice higher low point. Finally made a higher high, but higher high into a higher time frame point of interest. Overall, bearish reversal. Yeah, on the left side you can see the 30-minute complete clean change in trend direction. Price is confirmed rejecting 0.91. 0.9. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, coming back from that point. Okay, okay. Coming back from rejecting from this point down here. Okay. Okay, we're on the 2 hour on the left. We have some major area down here and major point right here. I think this is the previous month's monthly low. It's the monthly low. Okay. This major low point, this is not the previous week's low, but 2 weeks ago, so this is a major point as well. Let's go up to the 4 hour. Price is approaching what looks to be a retest area where there's previous resistance, but it looks like if there's going to be a reaction, it's going to come right back into the 0.93, right to that zone. Right up here. Yeah, it could push right to this little, I guess you call it an order block. It's a previous higher low point, might react off that. Something like this first, perhaps. Depends how it opens, you know, if it gaps down, then that's going to happen. I mean, if we open lower, then that's going to happen, and then possibly something like this. And then if this level breaks down to here, and if we gap up or open higher, and if it engulfs this candle, then we could just see a drive up back into that supply zone and then see the move down. Either one, but there's something at 0.92, 0.922. If it does go lower at first and breaks this little point, which I'm not sure if it will, just because this looks like the first retest point on it, looks like a reaction could come off of this area. But if it does break through this 0.922 area, then there's 0.915. It's kind of a big drop. It's a good supply as well. Okay. Yeah, on lower time frame you can possibly buy up to your higher time frame sell entry point and then, you know, catch the overall move. Just, yeah, this point right here, it looks like it's going to break and make people think that to break a structure, change a character, which it would be. But I think, yeah, I think we could get a move up first and then see that move down. What other things can we look at? Lower time frame structure break right here, which should be the point of interest we're looking at for that sell move. If price comes up to this point, seems like it's going to be a nice money spot. Easy sniper. Stop loss right above these highs. It's very easy. Seems like a very easy trade. On the 12 hour, yeah, you can honestly kind of see it on the 12 hour too. Because if it does go lower and kind of reacts off the zone with a wick, we could see it move back up into this, reject, and then move down lower to that zone down here, 0.915. If that breaks, which it might, let's see if we can apply anything. Okay, so given that it rejected here, definitely have bearish confirmation. If we can apply a fib and see what's going on. Yeah, liquidity sweep, false breakout, whatever you want to call it, and the first extension target lines up with just below this zone. So if this major level does break at 0.915, you could look at 0.912 and 0.910. So if you were to catch the sells up here, right in this zone, you could be looking at a 140 to 180 pip sell, 180 pip trade. And with the risk to reward, say price does go up there, successfully snipe it. Just say your stop loss 0.935 and you're targeting just this point. It's a 2.3 R, and if it breaks below and you're closing at 0.912, it's a 3 R trade, and that's just with a bit of a wider stop loss. And as you can see on the left, it's 30-minute. You're able to snipe into this zone, and you do catch it. You can obviously refine the stop loss real quick, and that becomes like a 5R trade to a potential 4R trade. That's a very nice move. Yeah, 0.93, 0.92 seems like a very good entry point for sells. Yeah, it switched on you at that point. But yeah, those sells were really good. They were really good. And then the reversal move up. But let's look at CAD real quick, and this will be the last thing. Definitely bearish on CHF overall, but we could get a move up. USD CAD doing the same exact thing. Liquidity sweep, break of the highs / supply zone, made a new high and ultimately rejected. It's come down to a retest level. Let's see. Let's go to a higher time frame on the right. Weekly close, very strong bullish candle. Interesting. Let's take off some of these blue levels here. Previous week's low. I believe this is the monthly low too, right here. Okay. Let's adjust that. And the monthly did not change the trend at all. It's still bearish. It looks like just a retest, higher time frame retest, deep retracement. Failed to break the previous candle open on the monthly time frame, which should be a lower high point, which looks like we're getting that. And back to daily. Yeah, nice candle rejection. Price might want to come down into this. I believe this would be a fair value gap, but a retest area down here. You know, this blue line is technically the retest area, but I think people will be buying there, and it's going to break through. And then you see that correction move up into that, either into this previous week's high, to this area of supply, creating another wick, and moving down, breaking this previous monthly resistance. It was support, turned resistance, and broke through, and now this time I believe it's going to try and act as support but break through again, simply because price looks like it'd be lining up with the overall bearish trend, and this would be a break of higher time. This would be a strong momentum trade basically on the break of this key level. Let's go a bit lower. Yeah, right here. Price really might want to retest those 1.35, 1.52 price range before trying to make another move down. Yeah, it definitely looks like it's going to retrace first, either from this point, how I have the arrow, or from this point up to the weekly high, previous week's high, and move lower. But where could we go? Let's see. Using the fibs, previous swing high. Yeah, so we could be looking at the major key level at 1.325, especially if this point breaks. This level is a little bit noisy, so we are going to keep it though. There's something here. But we could see 1.312 price range. And let's look at it from this perspective. If price is able to drive up and create another wick here, comes down and breaks this point. Right at this black line would be a break of structure. Label that as a higher time frame break of structure level. If this area breaks at 1.332, then I could see this zone being tested again. But yeah, it definitely looks like at least a 70 pip sell. And if you catch the move up here, it could be 100 pips, 110 pip trade. But the overall low, I'm not sure, just simply because the weekly time frame closes such a strong bullish candle, which is, I think, just trying to mess with traders. I don't think that's really going to be moving bullish. But yeah, CAD probably isn't going to be what we're trading. The other three pairs, Odd, NAS, Gold, they all look a lot cleaner to me than USD CAD, but ultimately I think it is going to move lower. But yeah, you missed it earlier, Nimesh, but Gold looking to go to retest 1850, possibly the previous week's high at 1870, and we could see maybe 1890. We've been seeing that move for the last 2 weeks, but that bearish move had to come through, and it looks like now we could be start to see that up move come through. So this could be a really good swing trade if we tap into the lows here at 1928, 1927 price range. If we get a nice wick in here, could be a really good trade, especially if it happens like on Tuesday or Wednesday. We can hold for the next day or two up to this point. Be very nice. But yeah, that's everything for today. I'm gonna go to the gym here soon. I gotta put this up on YouTube, put the other video I just made up on YouTube, have trading tips ready to go for this week and next week. We are back. Yeah, but I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend. You know, I'm definitely looking forward to this week coming up. It's about to be lit.